and I think that's got a lot to do with the fact that we had someone who was able to fill in with enough life for us to bounce off. It's very hard sometimes when you have to do lines with the script supervisor because the other actor isn't there, because the script supervisors are brilliant script supervisors, but they're not always brilliant actors. Whereas we had someone who could give us the right sort of, bounce board to have the emotions that the scene required. So, Joe was a sort of unsung hero in that respect.
There's a lady here in the second row.
Hi, this is for everybody. I just wondered if what you think, sorry, start again, whether you think there is life on other planets, and if you were to meet an alien in real life, what would you say or do to them?
Do to them?
Probably make love to them.
After we probe them?
Yeah.
What would you say or do? Not say to them or do.
Are you all right? I think it would be a bit a bit. Of course, there's other life out there, but it doesn't necessarily look like us. I'm sure. It could just be germs or bacteria, and in that case, I wouldn't say anything to it because it wouldn't understand me. I don't know. I'd say hello. Are you all right? Have you eaten? And then we'd sit down and have a lovely meal.
Cooked by you?
I'd cook it, yeah, and that's it.
It'd be a lucky alien.
Yeah.
I know everyone
Hot,
else.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Really warm.
So the bouncer for the group, you'd just eat with the alien.
No, I mean that's just my own personal
Or he would eat
credo, or he'd eat me. Yeah.
I'm one in the front row.
Yeah, question for Greg, Simon and Nick. I'm struck by the sense of peril in the movie. At least one character dies at the end, even the dog gets it in the first opening scene. So was there pressure to leaven that in any way, for certificate purposes, apart from anything else?
Are you referring to my death?
Also.
We
The
kind
dog died, I guess.
They pulled the dog gets.
So we're going to have Christians on us and the dog protection league.
Peter's happy.
Well, but it's not clear that the dog gets it. The dog gets abducted.
No, you hear the dog scream in pain as they shoot.
That's a squeal of life.
New life! Yeah, no, that's what I thought. I'm going on a trip!
We wanted it to be perilous, because there needed to be danger, and I think, I hope all of you have seen it, and this isn't a spoiler, but the reason we killed Joe's character is because he's so lovable, and it's kind of O'Reilly's the kind of knockabout funny one, that immediately as soon as he dies, you think, well, if he can die, anybody can die. So the rest of the film is like, well, who's going to get it next? And I think we used to joyously talk about blowing you up on set.
Yes, I was looking forward to it.
It's like, you love O'Reilly because he's funny and innocent and he's kind of loves sci-fi. It's kind of, if he hadn't done what he's doing, he would probably been with Graham and Klein.
Yeah.
So blowing him up was joyous. And then obviously squashing Sigourney was something of a coup.
And then you have one of the little aliens hose her off the landing.
I know.
Yeah. That was a bit aggressive. It was hostile.
But you've got to have peril, otherwise there's no danger, and it's important that there's some threat in the film, and there's some things at stake. That if they're not just going to tickle Paul if they catch him, they're going to cut his head off. And scoop his brain out of his skull.
But there's no pressure you face because keep sticking to that line, was there?
Say that again?
Was there pressure you faced not to stick to that line, to leaven it in any way?
Strangely, the one thing that I think ruffled feathers at the studio was the scene where Bill Hader shoots Moses, or Haggard shoots Moses and he goes off the road and it looks like he's killed him. That just seemed, people felt that was just out of character for the rest of the movie. I loved it because he's about to die, Bill Hader's about to die, and I think we should feel like he's done something terrible. So he's really kind of the worst villain in the movie besides Sigourney, is Bill.
Yeah.
And Sigourney's death, when I read it on the page, I just thought, well, this is like a great Monty Python moment. It's also one of those hilarious, like, there's too many endings in the movie, I think we're all willing to admit.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh no, another ending. And no, not really.
And also with its R rating, there's a bunch of things that trigger an R rating, and a lot of them we don't have in the movie, but certainly the tone or the lack of apology with certain elements, like you can't kill a dog. You can't. It's like, well, it's an R movie, so people come in with their knees a little bit more bent and a little bit more willing to accept stuff that's outside the box, or the edges aren't as rounded, and it's nice. I think it's part of the experience that you get when you go see an R-rated comedy.
Yeah, otherwise it's
less
sanitized
polished.
and kind of bland.
Yeah.
You need a bit of light and shade.
So there's a lady in the second row.
This is a question for Simon and Nick. How similar are you to the characters that you play?
We look like them.
I don't think we're. I think if you took these two and then everyone we played in Shaun Dead Not Fuzz as well, I think if you were to combine them all, you'd probably have 14% of what we are as people.
I think we're kind of nerdy like them, but we're sort of higher functioning nerds. We're sort of,
We're married.
We're married. To start, we don't live alone. Our skin's fairly clear.
And you wouldn't travel in an RV. You'd be like,
well,
you'd be
we're
like
not
private.
a driver.
No, yeah, you don't drive.
But there's certainly the relationship between them is, there's great love between them. And Nick and I are best friends before we're colleagues, so that we channeled a bit of our own little romance into it, didn't we?
Yeah, yes we did.
Would you guys like to sit together?
Let's gaze across you. Lovely white teeth.
A gentleman in the front row.
So, Gordon, is it more fun to play a heroine or a really hard-ass bitch? I mean, what's the most fun?
I'm trying to bring the two together. Well, I loved playing a character who was the voice at the other end of the phone or whatever we were using, who does finally appear gloriously stepping out of a helicopter, and then after a brief scuffle, gets squashed. I just loved the movie. I loved the idea of being part of this ensemble. Huge fan of these guys and Greg Matolos and everyone in the cast. So even if they hadn't let me wear such a nice dress, I probably would have wanted to do the movie.
This guy in the third row with glasses.
A question for Greg, Simon, and Nick. How important did Nira Park play, especially with Edgar Wright being the
Naira. She always gets that, but it sounds like she lives near a park. Naira's our long-time collaborator and great friend, and she's part of our. We work at a Big Talk, which is Naira's company, and Naira's always been with us and is a very important mentor and creative collaborator. So it's vital. She's as much part of the unit as not I or Nick. So and she's an extraordinary presence to have. She's a great sort of mood leveler, isn't she? When things get really difficult, she takes it all and shields us from it. So we love Naira and we'll continue to work with her forever.
Kristen, I just want to ask, your character Ruth, when she is awakened, she swears quite a lot.
Yeah.
Did you have a swearing coach, or was that all you?
Kind of these guys. I mean, obviously what they wrote in the script, we did that, but there was a lot of serious talks about alternate. Yeah, is it do hairy love eggs or sweaty? I'm not gonna say them. Yeah.
Wasn't that baby with a hard on? No, that was was baby bone.
Baby bone. We're gonna make it, which I'm surprised. I think
Is that copyrighting?
One of my favourites was one of yours, which was tit burgers.
Yeah.
But it was just a question of getting disparate words and putting them together. Ruth doesn't know how to curse, and so she's learning it as she goes, and doesn't do a great job. Get away from me, you stupid vaginas.
We have here in Britain, we have a heritage of great swearing, and why not use it? I remember asking a Danish friend of mine once, what's the worst swear word you could possibly say to someone in Danish? And he thought about it for ages, and he came to me and said, "Okay, it's long-haired communist fag." That was it. That was the most abusive thing I could think of. I think that's nothing. That cuts aside in my house.
There's a guy in the front row. Yes.
Sigourney, I was just wondering how many times have you resisted taking up the offer to send yourself up, especially with the alien mythology? Because you've done films like Galaxy Quest, but for a cameo, I was just wondering, have you been pestered along the years? I mean, what was it?